Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine.
Be blessed by the divine. Sir, said voice is not clear, sir.
Now,
No, it's some breaking is there. Some breaking. Voice is breaking.
now,
Somehow okay, sir. Not very clear.
not very clear.
Yeah.
Now,
Now it's okay.
now is it okay? Let me know.
Yeah. This is fine.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for this. So today we will discuss about what is nature, and we will discuss in detail about nature, and then we will go through what the human beings, and then we will go through karma, which is very important to understand, and then we will finally go through the how can we get to the wisdom. So Maharishi has said very clearly, human beings are just our life is just to get between habits and wisdom. So how can we get the wisdom by overcoming the habits? So let us directly go into the topic. So everybody, all human beings in this world, born in this world, we all would like to live in peace. So we want peace of mind. So there is no second opinion about this. Also, we live in this world to attain, or we are born in this world to reach the goal of birth, which is self-realization or God realization. In this process, human beings, we are all going through very different things, or we can say, we can question ourselves, what is ailing human beings really? What is the thing which is ailing us? So many scholars, great sages, born many centuries or thousands of years, they have been asking this question, and whoever has found the answers, they have the way of living in peace with getting rid of the pain. Our Guru, Sri Vedatri Maharishi, he was asking himself, these questions came to his mind when he was very young, and he was able to understand or get the answers for these questions, and he gave us the wonderful system of sky, which is simplified Kundalini Yoga, and this which is helping us in attaining the tough mind. So if you look at the nature is having four things. So the first one is primordial state, which is the static state, and this is referred as God by our scholars or ancient scholars, and this is being referred by unified force as unified force by the scientists. And then from this static state came Akash, the fundamental energy particle. And from this, the group of fundamental, the combination of the particle in proportion, we got Buddhas up to the galaxies, including the world, Earth in which we are living. And also the living beings from single sense to the sixth sense human being. These are created to enjoy, to understand the pain, pleasure, peace, and ecstasy. If we look at all the four, we can question ourselves that where did the peace start first? Also, we can have a question, when was this? And we understand that divinity is nothing but the static state. And if we start questioning ourselves, when was this static state or Puranam realized by human being? And if you look at these things, human beings are gifted with the sixth sense, the intellect, and we human are the only living thing in this universe who have the capability to perceive the imperceptible, because we all know that divinity or the divine is imperceptible. There are certain things which are imperceptible, and we the human are only gifted with the capability to perceive the imperceptible. So we can perceive which cannot be seen by any of the scientific instruments invented so far. As we can perceive right from the smallest of the thing atom up to the galaxy, and we can go beyond the galaxy into the static field, and we can try to perceive that and understand, and that static is nothing but the divine state. So if whatever we have been discussing about this is true, we understand that the human mind is very powerful because we have the capability to perceive the imperceptible. So if you look at all these four, next we will go through the why do human beings suffer? So whatever happens in this world, it cannot be termed as things which can happen beyond the nature. So everything happens in this world is happening within the law of nature. So since we have the capability to perceive these, we can ask ourselves why we are suffering, why we are having poverty, why we are having pain, why we are having diseases, why we are getting into the conflicts. Is it natural for all of us to go through these conflicts, or why to get all these things? See, if you look at the things, is this natural for us to suffer this pain or conflicts or whatever it is? So let us ask this question ourselves. And if you look at the things around us, everything works within these three principles. Maharishi has explained this: pattern, precision, and regularity. And whatever happening in this world or in this universe is happening in an orderliness. So this can be easily perceived by us. There is a pattern, precision, regularity, and orderliness in which everything is happening. So first, let us look at how the galaxies are formed. So this is one of the quality of the divine state, which is nothing but transformation. Transformation is the process through which the orderly way in which the atom to galaxies came into the existence. This is nothing but transformation. And the next characteristic is mutation. So what is mutation? Mutation is nothing but the changes brought about in this universe by the divine state through the force and consciousness in keeping with the needs and circumstances. So what the nature does is, according to the circumstances, according to the needs, this process is taking place, mutation. Like for example, how we started from one sense, first, second sense, third sense, and every organ got developed. This is very clearly explained by Maharishi, and it has been explained by our professors in various classes. So this is nothing but a mutation. And the next capability of the nature is cause and effect, which is very important, taken up by our Maharishi and explained this in very, very simple term, even though it is a very deep subject. Our Guru has given to us like a very easy way to understand. Actually, if you look at this, what is cause and effect? We all know that every action brings a result, and there is no action which will never give any result. And this is happening, how this is happening is in keeping with the nature actually. So the divine stages, like this, all the three, transformation, mutation, and cause and effect, are the capabilities of the divine nature or the divine state. So let us continue to understand consciousness. So if you think ourselves, we are gifted with the capability to carry out deeds by evaluating the past experience and keeping the future in mind to carry out the current activities, which is a principle of cause and effect. So if we look at all the living beings in this universe, only we, the human beings, are gifted with this capability, and no living being is gifted with this. So we should appreciate and understand about this capability, and we should try to do justice for this capability in achieving the goal of life. So this capability, this is not developed in our younger age. So we remain in younger age, our knowledge or our consciousness is not developed to the fullest extent. So what is happening is, during this young age, we follow what is called Bhakti Yoga, since the consciousness has not developed to the fullest. We need some guidance at the young age, and our elders, they have devised so many things or so many processes to guide us at this younger age how to live peacefully or how not to do wrong things. So since this is available, we cannot claim that we are doing mistakes due to ignorance. Normally we are ignorant. So as we are gifted with this kind of experience from the elders, we should not claim that, okay, I am committing the mistakes due to the ignorance what we have. So we should start thinking about ourselves. We should ask ourselves, as we grow older, why human suffer in spite of having all the gift of God, the teachings of the elders, Bhakti Yoga, why we still suffer? If we ask ourselves, we can understand that we human, we have not understood about our own value and capability. மனிதனை பற்றி சரியாக தெரிந்து கொள்ளவில்லை. This is what our Maharishi has told. Since we are not able to, or since we haven't understood about ourselves, our own value, our own capability, we are suffering. And moreover, the miseries are also due to the imagination, actually. What we do is we imagine, instead of perceiving things properly, we start imagining something which is not right. And due to this imagination, we are suffering. Actually, there is a two-line poem by our Maharishi in இன்பத்தும் துன்பத்தும் இயற்கையும் கற்பனையும் சிந்தித்தே அறிபவன் சிறப்பாக வாழ்வான். So in this, what he says is, இன்பம், which is pleasure, துன்பம், which is pain, இயற்கை, which is nature, and he has added karpane, which is imagination. One who has understood all these four will live a peaceful life, or sirapaga vazhvan means he will live a very good life in this world. So Maharishi has understood the importance or the issues related to the imagination, and he added this in this two-line poem. So we can understand how well our Maharishi has understood the problem of imagination or the flip side of imagination. So after understanding all this, if we ask ourselves, what is the need of human being? So we should be able to explain about the consciousness we are gifted with. So we need to have this explanation, and we need to have not only the explanation, we should have the practices to make human beings for respect the fellow human. This is very, very important. Unless otherwise we have this, we will not be able to live in peace or live with the peace of mind. So our Guru Sri Vedatri Maharishi, he thought about this in his younger age. And since there is no scientific process available yet, because even though we have a lot of inventions, we are able to go from one place to the other, and we are able to break the speed of sound to launch vehicles into the outer space, but still we are not able to understand the science of how to live life right from his younger age. So Maharishi, what he did, since he was thinking about the benefit of the world or the human beings from his younger age, Maharishi devised the practices, since he realized that we the human are gifted with this kind of consciousness, and he devised the methods or the to follow and achieve this peace of mind. So let us continue through this. Let us try to do this for just 1 minute. Let us all close our eyes and then think about the events which happened in our life from younger age, say 3 to 5 years till now. Can we all do this just for a minute? Be blessed by the divine. So many of us, I think we all would have experienced or different things right from the younger age. Maybe some would have, some will be, they would have been able to imagine or to get the picture of school, their friends, whatever, wherever we went, certain important events, important people we met. Like this, we are able to recollect the past, even though it happened maybe many decades back. So how is this happening? Or what is making this to happen? So if we try to ask these questions to ourselves, it's very clear we will be able to understand that our mind is able to perform this magic. So we are all the events which happened in our life are recorded within us, and we human beings have the capability to recollect those what happened in our life. So if we all think, is it not a greatest power or strength we have in our life? If we ask ourselves why we suffer in spite of having this kind of capability, we are able to perceive from atom, which is the very smallest of the particle, to the galaxy, which are several million light years away from us, and still we are suffering. Why we are suffering? So great gurus, they started asking this question. Our Maharishi also asked this question to himself, and he is explaining this is happening due to the three blemishes what we have, which is ego, imprint, and illusion. So he says very clearly, God, man minus three blemishes, which are ego, imprints, and illusion, is equal to divine. So these three blemishes keep us away from divinity, and which is making us to get into this cycle of imprints. Okay. So what we are doing is, we are human beings not spending efforts to understand self. So what we do is, as the science is advancing, we are inventing so many things on daily basis. 15 years, 20 years back, calling somebody outside within our country itself calling somebody, we have to stand in the queue. We have, see earlier, we have to book the call and we have to wait for the trunk call to get connected. And then later we got STD booths where we can go and call them. And then we started getting the mobile. And then with the latest technology, or with the latest social media available, we are able to connect with somebody who are even thousands of miles away, right from India, in US, in the real time, and we are able to talk to them, see them, and participate in all their activities. How this is happening? Because of the scientific advancement. And the energy we spend as human being for advancing this, not even a small percentage of that energy is being spent on understanding the self. Because we have not been taught about this basic, or the basic structures or basic tenets of how to live peacefully. We are just we just get connected, or we are more interested in inventing and making our life more and more advanced, actually, which is good. Actually, see, we need to advance in life, but at the same time we should be able to understand about ourselves, which is very important in living in peace, living with the peace of mind in this life. See, what is happening is, we have to understand about one thing. Whenever we want to do any action, let us think ourselves, before you want to do anything, whatever part which is connected with the body, the cells in them get changes, the biochemical changes, and according to these changes, the brain cells expand them, and it comes to us as thoughts. And this is getting repeated whenever similar thoughts arise. So we need to understand this basic thing. So how thoughts arise, and if we understand this, we will definitely learn and realize that we have to plan for those actions, and we need to plan for those actions which are not harming ourselves or anybody else now or in the future. So if we understand this, how the thought process is happening, it will help us in living with the peace of mind. So let us continue further. Next, let us look at the karma. So this karma theory has been explained by everybody, and Maharishi also given us in a very, very simple way. So what we do is, we are doing things wrong. We are committing these things because of the habits. For example, if we just think about ourselves, repeated action is nothing but habit. Like, for example, earlier having coffee or tea as soon as we get up, even though body is not, it may not be in need of this. If we don't have the refreshment like tea or coffee in the morning as soon as we get up, for many, the day is not starting properly. Okay. Now, from this, or before that, it was reading a newspaper as soon as we get up in the morning. Unfortunately, now, if we don't go through the social media like WhatsApp or Facebook as soon as we get up in the morning, many of us may feel that our day is not proper. And many are carrying the mobile phone even into the washrooms. And we have been affected, or we have come to this kind of situation. Why this is happening is because of what is called habit. So repeated actions, it leads to habit. So even though we are working a lot to understand how these things are happening, we are not able to understand the fellow human being or how this problem is happening. So what Maharishi says is, this birth itself is sufficient to attain the goal of birth. We all know that once we understand the sky practices, we know what is the goal of life, which is nothing but self-realization or God realization. And we don't need many births to achieve this. And Maharishi has explained very clearly how can we attain the God realization even in this birth itself. And he has provided all the practices in a very simplified way to achieve this. So now let us look at the three karmas, Sanchita karma, Prarabdha karma, and Agamya karma. Okay. So what is Sanchita karma? In a very simple words, this is nothing but which is we are getting from our forefathers. So like for example, if you take a lemon seed or any other seed, that seed has got all the information. How long it will take for the seed to grow into a plant, into a tree, and how long or how many years this will yield, and then finally it will go away, means it will stop yielding and it will end. So these things are recorded in the seed itself. Like this, we human beings are also having this Sanchita karma, which is coming through our ancestors, right from the single cell or the single sense living being up to we the human beings. This is nothing but Sanchita karma. And then Prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is nothing but the imprints which which are uh, which are getting registered within us from the age of 3 when we start doing things. And then what is Akamya karma? Akamya karma is the karma for the future. So based on our Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma, Akamya karma, we are getting Akamya karma. For example, once a person's parents can be very good scholars, but if that person is not properly trained or he is not doing things proper, he may become a dacoit or even a killer. Or the other way, that the offspring of big means very very worst killers can also be saints, because the Akamya karma, what we do using our consciousness, we can understand this with this Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma. So it is very important for human being to understand all these three karmas properly, to do our actions in order to minimize the imprints, or we have to do the good things, and we will understand once we go through this karma, which is explained very well by our Maharishi, and our professors are also explained us very clearly. So we all say some imprints, okay? So if you try to understand how these imprints are recorded, Maharishi is explaining like a very simple example of a cow. Whenever we see a cow, the cow is a big animal, maybe 8 to 10 feet long. It is 4 feet tall. And even though that bigger animal, when we see through our eyes, it is like a small mosquito. It is seen in our eyes. And it is getting imprinted in our genetic center as a small dot. So like this, everything, whatever we see, whatever we do, it is getting imprinted in our genetic center. So what is genetic center? See, anything which revolves or which circulates has a center. So our body, a human being, we have biomagnetic circulation, and this biomagnetic circulation is from the genetic center. And what is genetic center is nothing but it is Thinivipatra Gandha Kalam. This is what Maharishi used to say. It is an intensified magnetic field. So now we have seen about this, and we saw about habit some time back. So what Maharishi says is human being are nothing but one who is trying to fight between habit and wisdom. We know what is wrong. Like, for example, as soon as we get up in the morning, we don't want to open our mobile and go through the WhatsApp or the social media. But we are not able to do it because we are getting habituated. So the wisdom we have, or the practices Maharishi has taught, will help us in understanding what is wisdom and how to get over the habits. So how to get the wisdom means to get the wisdom. So we all know that habits are very strong. Like Muthu sir has been explaining before in many classes. Like if you keep doing one thing, like maybe 100 times, it is like a cotton wire. Maybe thousands of times, it becomes like a rope. And then if you start doing the same thing like hundreds of thousands of times, it will become like a iron chain. So we all know that what is easier to break, whether we can break the cotton thread or rope or the iron chain. So this is what is the issue with the habits. So we all know that habits are wrong. All this bookish knowledge is available, but still it is not sufficient. Actually, we need some methods. We need some practices to achieve this or to attain this wisdom, because habits are as strong. It can be as strong as the iron chain, or it can be like a cotton thread. So we need some practices to do this. So actually, we all know that this cycle, thoughts, words, and deeds. So we are not, or we will not do anything in this world without first it will come out, it will come in our thoughts, and then we express the thought as words, and then we do the things also. This is not, this is common for everybody, or for every action what we do. So we need to understand this. And if this is, actually this has been explained by many scholars in the thousands of years in many books, but this bookish knowledge is not sufficient, because we have not been taught with the practices or the simplified practices. Actually, let me put it this way. There may be practices, but since the current times are very fast, and we do not want to spend that much amount of time because of our prayer commitments, human beings, we started looking for simple things to practice. So Maharishi understood that what is going to be the future requirements because of the advancement of the science. So he has understood that mere bookish knowledge is not enough. And this quote, streamline the thought, discipline the deed, is by Maharishi. So what he says is, once we are able to streamline the thought, or once our thoughts are very good or clear, the actions will be disciplined. So this is also one of the very simple but a very powerful quote by our Maharishi. So how we can achieve this wisdom, or how can we streamline the thoughts? So yoga is the means to achieve this discipline. So yoga, which is yuj, okay, we have to be in tune with the nature in order to achieve this discipline. So what is worshipping nature? Maharishi says, God worshipping is nothing but it is worshipping the nature. First, see, we will be able to understand the nature by this simple thing. So whatever food we eat, it gets converted to 7 dhatus, which is called rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asti, majja, or shukla in Sanskrit, which is nothing but juice, blood, muscle, fat, bone, bone marrow, and SVF. So whatever we eat, it gets converted into 7 dhatus. So we should be in tune with, so whatever we eat gets converted, whether we eat idli, whether we eat chapati, whether we eat this fruit or that fruit, anything gets converted actually. So if you think ourselves, can we do any of these actions, whether we will be able to do any of these actions, even though we are having this, all the body means we have this sympathetic, parasympathetic system, we all have the capability. Can anybody do this? Do any of these actions? No, we cannot do this. And how this is happening in us, within us, if we try to understand this, we will understand that there is some energy, force, whatever within us, which is able to, the consciousness is able to do this day in and day out without any means without any stopping. So it all happens as per the natural law. So if you are trying to fiddle with this law of nature, which will result in pain. For example, if I am capable of having 4 idli only in the morning, suppose when I go to the breakfast, I see vada also. Since the chutney and sambar is good, instead of 4 idli, if I take 6 idli and the vada is crisp and nice, if I take 2 more vadas, what will happen is I may get into pain, because this is against the law of nature, because my mixie, my stomach is capable of digesting only certain amount. And because of taste, or because of the senses, if we are going against the nature, which is overeating, we may result in pain. This is very simple way of understanding how the pain is, we are getting pain if we work against the law of nature. And this is applicable to everything what we do when we go against the law of nature. See, if you look at nature, nature operates without flaw. So the flawlessness of nature is unexplained, means it is unimaginable. For example, the earth rotates within its axis in 24 hours. It goes around the sun in a fixed time. And the distance between the planets maintaining the same. There is no difference in this. If we ask ourselves, what is maintaining this? For example, just take ourselves. Whenever we plan to go somewhere, okay, we go 5 minutes late, half an hour late, 1 hour late, and we try to give reasons for why we are late. Maybe traffic jam, vehicle got some problem, all these kinds of things. Suppose if any of these things which is happening in the nature, like earth revolves, okay, and can we imagine about even for a fraction of a second, if the earth stops rotating, revolving around itself in its axis, we will be simply thrown out of this. So nature works without any flaw. But even though we understand this, we are not able to appreciate this one because we are all living peacefully or normally in this planet. So we should understand this law of nature. And whatever actions we do, which is not in tune with nature, which will lead to the pain, which is nothing but the principle of cause and effect, which we just discussed about with the example of simple food what we eat. So we should not work against the nature. So when we attain this wisdom will help we the human beings from committing sins. And if we are not doing sins, we will not get imprints. Okay. So we need the practices to come over the habits, which is not very easy. Like if it is becoming like a iron chain, it is very hard. We need a lot of energy to break the chain. So Maharishi is telling that we have to use the thoughts only to streamline the thoughts. So we cannot do எண்ணத்தால் எண்ணத்தை ஆராய வேண்டும். So we have to use thoughts only to analyze the thoughts or to streamline that. And we need to have morality. We should have morality in order to achieve this. What our forefathers have given is the Ashtanga Yoga, which is Yamam, Niyamam, Asanam, Pranayamam. These four are physically like exercise related. And if you look at this next four, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Okay. So what is Pratyahara? Pratyahara is nothing but liberation from sensual pleasures, because we always deal with the universe with our five senses. We need to liberate ourselves from these sensual pleasures. This is nothing but Pratyahara. Dharana is nothing but to keep focused on one thing. And then dhyana is to remain united on the same thing on which we are focusing. And finally, samadhi. Samadhi is nothing, not after the death. This is nothing but to be in unison with the Almighty. So these are the last four stages of Ashtanga Yoga. And in the olden times, we have to go through all the 8, means dhyana comes as the 7th one out of the 8. So many people, they were not able to come to this because they are still in that early stages of either physical, like Yamam, Niyamam, Asanam, Pranayamam, or even Pratyahara, Dharana. So what Maharishi did, he gave the physical exercises, but he took us directly to the dhyana. So when we do this practice, automatically we get this Pratyahara or Dharana. So he has understood that with the current time or with the fast nature of the world, it would be impossible to achieve this. So he has given us the ways to achieve this dhyana, or to how to get into this dhyana, which will lead to this samadhi, which is nothing but our goal of birth, which is God realization. So we understood about the power of mind sometime back when we discussed about this. So what we are doing is, our mind is so powerful, but the mind works in the frequency actually. So this frequency, what we have, this frequency is nothing but the cycle per second. So the mind works in this 4 frequency: beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Normally beta is 13 to 40 cycles. Sorry, 14 to 40. Our mind, normally human mind, works in the beta, which is whenever we are dealing with the universe, with our with our senses, we are in the beta frequency. And what we have to do is, we have to come to the alpha frequency. What the alpha frequency does is, in that alpha frequency, we started liberating ourselves from dealing with the senses. Like, for example, pratyahara, which is the liberation from the sensual pressures. So in alpha frequency, we stop dealing with the sensual pleasures. And then next we come to the theta, which is 4 to 7, and ultimately the lowest frequencies, delta, which is 1 to 3 frequency. And like Maharishi has explained, the other end of the mind is divinity. So as we reduce the frequency and we go to the lower frequency, we will be able to understand the divine. And the meditation practices by Maharishi, he starts with the alpha, and then which is in Agna meditation. And then as we go to the Turyadit meditation, we will be able to come to this lower frequency of 1 to 3, where we will be able to meditate in the universal field and with the static field also. So thereby we are able to merge ourselves with the divinity. So Maharishi has devised all the meditation techniques according to this mind frequency. So meditation will help us in bringing down the mental frequency from beta to alpha, so that we are able to dissociate and live life without or always with the sensual pressures. We will not be able to, or we will not be living with the sensual pressures always. See, if you look at human being, we need these 4: wealth, fame, power, and sensual pressure. Because we cannot live without all these things. For example, wealth. Let us take the example wealth. We need wealth to live in this world. For example, we need some vehicle to move around. We need a place to live. We need a house. We need money to eat. All those things. And then fame. So fame, actually, it can be people are running behind the fame, but fame is also required. And the power comes with the wealth and fame. And then we have to have the sensual pleasures also, like eating and all the other things, like having a good, wearing a good dress, or having a car, or visiting some places. So they are not bad, but we should have the limit and method. So Maharishi has given this principle, or the simple thing also, what is limit and what is method also. So we have to, if we do our deeds within the limit and method. For example, let us take a simple example of eating. Like if for me 4 idli or 3 chapati is the limit, I have to eat, I have to remain within the limit. And the method to eat, we have to munch, chew them properly and eat for proper digestion. So this is a very, very basic example of or how to understand the limit and method. So what Maharishi has done is, he has devised the practices simplified Kundalini Yoga. So how he has devised is, in our body, if you look at the body, we have 7 centers. These centers are nothing but Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anahata, Visukti, Agna, and Turiya. So what are those things? So these are the endocrine glands present in our body. So they are nothing but the energy centers. So if these 7 centers act as transformers to carry the energy from Mooladhara up to the Turiya Chakra. So what Maharishi did is, he devised the practices and he started teaching, so that masters can bring the energy from Mooladhara up to Agna. So after means he is bypassing all the glands. Normally in the olden days, we have to lift our energy or get it up from one gland to the other and up to the Agna Chakra. So it is taking a lot of time, and we have to practice only this continuously. So with this current fast life, it is not possible. So Maharishi has given this simplified practice, which we should utilize and practice properly in order to achieve this wisdom. So when we do this kind of meditation, so like we explained, he has given us all the 9 types of meditation, like Agna, Shanti, Turiyam, Turiyadita. So which is within we go beyond our 7 centers into and merge with the universe also. What we do, see what we get is we get perspicacity, receptivity, adaptability, magnanimity, and creativity. Out of this, the perspicacity, nunman nulaipuran, which means we are able to perceive the imperceptible also. So with this, these meditation techniques help us to achieve this 5. Maharishi, what he has done is he knows that only meditation is not sufficient because the mental strength, if we are not able to use it properly, like Muthu sir used to say this example, Hitler and Gandhi, they were all both have very strong mind, means they were very powerful, they had a very powerful mind. But Gandhi was able to streamline his thoughts or his strength properly, whereas Hitler was not. He did not follow the things rightly. So the introspection practices help us in guiding our the strength, whatever we gain, into the proper way. So what Maharishi has given is, he has given the introspection practices like thought and analysis of thoughts, moralization of desire, and then then we have to neutralization of anger, and then eradication of worries, and then finally, who am I? Like Maharishi explained before, thought is everything. So he starts with the thought. Like a psychiatrist, he knows exactly how to deal with this. Only the desires come from thoughts. If we are able to streamline the thoughts, our desires will be not as high as. So once we practice the first stage of introspection, which is analysis of thoughts, we know how the thoughts are coming and we will be able to streamline them. And then our desires will become lesser and lesser, not like before. And then what Maharishi says, we have to do the moralization of desire, because desire cannot be eliminated, because to live in the world itself is a desire, to eat is a desire, we have to eat to live. So desires cannot be eliminated, but we should not have the inordinate desires. We should know difference between need and want. So this practices of desire, the neutralization, it helps us, moralization of desire, and then the neutralization of anger. So if we are not able to, whatever desires, if it is not getting fulfilled, it will get into anger. So Maharishi has given the practices to deal with that anger also. So what he says is, he says neutralize the anger. And then if we are not able to deal with this anger, and then it gets into worries. So what Maharishi says is, he used the word eradication only for worries. He has not used the word eradication for any of the things, like even for anger. So why Maharishi has done is, Maharishi says worry in Tamil, kavalai. Kavalai means karpanai valai. So this is like an imaginary net which we are spinning around ourselves and getting trapped into. So we need to eradicate the worries, because worries will kill us, or it will sap all our energy. And then finally, we are able to understand who am I. So if we understand who am I, then what we discussed before, human is not understanding ourselves. So we will understand ourselves, and we will understand the fellow human beings also. So when we do all these things, meditation, then there's sublimation, introspection, and then the third stage is sublimation, and then we will attain the perfection stage. So once we are able to attain this perfection stage, we will be able to get this wisdom during this process. And with all the practices developed by Maharishi and which is being taught by the masters, let us all practice the methods followed by, taught by Maharishi through the sky practices of meditation and introspection, and let us achieve perfection in our birth by practicing all these things. So once we do this meditation properly, the ultimate goal of peace of mind, we will be able to achieve the peace of mind and live peacefully in this world and achieve our goal of birth. Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed.